Free agency is coming in 3 weeks. And there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks available with experience starting in games. Some of them good, some of them not as good. I'm trying to be tactful here. I'm trying to be nice. Just some of the names. Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield, Ryan Tannehill, Joe Flacco, comeback player of the year for 2023. Plans on playing again in 2024, even though he was ignored until November 20 of last season. Jacoby Brissett, Mitchell Trubisky, he's already available. He was released by the Steelers last week. Tyrod Taylor, Marcus Mariota, Sam Darnold, who looked good in very limited work for the 49ers last year. Drew Lock, who looked very good when he had an opportunity last year for the Seahawks. And Gardner Minshew, who was great for the Colts, almost took them to the playoffs after Anthony Richardson was lost for the year. And I can't remember a class this deep of former starters. And there's others I've left off. And they're free agents. That doesn't even include Justin Fields, who's potentially available via trade. And it just makes me wonder how this is all going to play out. Oh, I didn't even mention Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm going to talk about him in a minute. He's going to be released by the Raiders. He joins that list as well. He was once upon a time the highest paid player in the NFL. Not for very long, but he was. So, how's this all going to shake out? What are these teams going to do? And we wrote last night on PFT about the report from Albert Breer of SI.com that the Vikings don't want to give Kirk Cousins a fully guaranteed contract. Now, they didn't do a Deshaun Watson 5-year fully guaranteed contract when they first signed him in 2018. It was 3 years, $28.5 million, I think, which was, for a brief period of time, the high watermark for all NFL quarterbacks. But it was 3 years. And then they extended it. It was always like a 2 or a 3 year commitment. Now that Cousins is about to be a free agent, there's no way the Vikings can keep him from being a free agent. They don't want to do a fully guaranteed contract. The next question is, will another team want to do it? He's going to be 36 in August. He's coming off of a torn Achilles tendon. Can he get a fully guaranteed deal? Whether it's 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, doubtful. And I can't help but wonder whether or not, post Deshaun Watson, there's still a lingering sense of unspoken collusion among the owners that they're not going to do it, that they're not going to do fully guaranteed contracts for veteran quarterbacks because we want to be sure that everyone knows who's boss, and we're just not going to do it. There's a pending collusion grievance that was filed in late 2022 about the failure of teams to give certain veteran quarterbacks fully guaranteed contracts. And look, it's human nature. Anytime somebody tries to tell you you can't do something, it's human nature to say, screw you, I'm going to do it anyway. And I think the more power and money and influence a person has, the more inclined they are to use every lever available to tell anyone who's paying attention, I'm going to do that thing you're trying to get me to not do. And so, will anyone offer Kirk Cousins a fully guaranteed contract? Now, last year, part of the cover story for a team like the Falcons, coincidentally, to not pursue Lamar Jackson, a year after the Falcons were in the mix to get Deshaun Watson, the cover story was, well, we got to give up 2 first-round picks, and he's got injury history. And the Ravens might match the offer. They've got the right to do so. The Vikings have none of that this year. There's no compensation. There's no right to match. There's nothing. If you want him, you go get him. You go pay him. You go offer him the contract that gets him to say yes and ignore whatever belated effort the Vikings might undertake to try to get him to change his mind. They can do it. Anyone can do it. Will it be a fully guaranteed contract? You know, last time around when he hit the open market, Cousins had 2 teams pursuing him, Vikings and the Jets. He picked the Vikings, and he got that 3-year fully guaranteed contract. I just wonder. I wonder how many teams are really going to pursue a guy who's going to be 36 in August, who's coming off a torn Achilles tendon, when you've got all these other quarterbacks that I've been mentioning, that I listed available in free agency, headlined by Baker Mayfield as the top alternative to Kirk Cousins. You've got the potential to trade for a Justin Fields, and you've got the potential to draft a guy. Is someone going to pursue Kirk Cousins aggressively? As aggressively as the Vikings did in 2018, when aggressive meant fending off the Jets. That's it. So we'll see. We shall see. And we'll see whether or not there's any suggestion of collusion. We'll see if Cousins gets a fully guaranteed contract. We'll see if someone else offers enough that the Vikings can't even begin to attempt to match. And, I was probably a little too binary in my choices that the Vikings have. Either they don't want him or they do. And if they don't want him, they're just being nice while he pursues other options and he goes away and they act like they're upset, but they're really not. Or they do want him and they're playing it coy, thinking that he'll find out that no one else is going to pay what the Vikings would pay. It also could be that the Vikings are in the middle where they want him on their own terms. Hey, if he wants to stay and he's willing to take this, fine. If he's not willing to take what we're willing to pay, then see you later. We'll go elsewhere. We'll find someone else who can work with Kevin O'Connell and run this system and become a great quarterback because of the system, not because of the quarterback. See, that's really the question. Is it a situation where the Vikings system will work if you find a guy that can run it and who is in it long enough so that Kevin O'Connell is talking to him before the play, they're working together, and after 1 or 2 or 3 years, it all comes together and it all takes off? Which maybe it would do this year with Kirk Cousins, 3rd year in the system. But how many more years are you going to get from Kirk Cousins? Now, he seems to think he can play into his 40s. He said that when we met with him at the Super Bowl a week and a half ago. But can he? How much longer can a guy go beyond his 40th birthday? The legs will go. The arm will be there. You got to be able to make quick decisions, though, in order to make up for the fact that you can't move around like you used to. And Cousins was never a guy who was going to take the play that didn't work and transform it into a play that does by buying time horizontally or taking off vertically. Sometimes he does, not very often, and he's not going to get any faster as he gets older. He's not going to be more agile as he gets older. So, bottom line is, maybe the Vikings' position is, we have a number that we have determined as to what we'll budget to pay Kirk Cousins. If he wants it, great. If he doesn't, great. We'll activate Plan B. Or maybe Plan A. Maybe Plan A is, we hope he doesn't take it. Maybe Plan A is, we're going to try to draft a guy who will be the quarterback for the next 10 or 15 years. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.